Top 10 greatest shooting guards in NBA history. We know that Michael Jordan is the greatest player and the greatest NBA shooting guard of all time. There's no debate about that. But who's next? Who are the NBA's top 10 shooting guards of all time? Does a guy like James Harden deserve to be on this list? And if so, is he one of the NBA's top 5 shooting guards of all time? Well, in this journey, we're going to break down the top 10 shooting guards in NBA history. Stick around. Alright, let's go ahead and jump right into the video, but before we do, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss any updates whenever I drop a new video, which is every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, as we move on to the number 10 greatest shooting guard of all time, we gotta start with Mr. Jesus Shuttlesworth, aka Ray Allen. Ray Allen entered the NBA in arguably the best draft class of all time. That 1996 class was littered with all-stars and Hall of Famers. But of all the great players from that draft, Allen without a doubt was the best shooter in that class. A career 40% three-point shooter, Ray Allen is a legit top 5, some even say a top 3 shooter of all time. Not just a spot-up shooter either. He was a guy that could create his own shot off the dribble. And Ray, as we know, is one of the most clutch three-point shooters that the game has ever seen. I mean, who could forget that dagger that Ray Allen sent through the hearts and the soul of Spurs fans from all over the world? The shot heard around the world, as they call it, gave the 10-time All-Star his second title of his illustrious career. Alright, coming in at number 9, T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. Growing up, I had the privilege of watching McGrady firsthand during his Mount Zion days at my high school after our basketball practices, and it was clear to anyone that watched him that his talent was ready for the NBA. And with the 9th pick of the 1997 draft, Toronto took McGrady right out of high school. Unfortunately for them, after just 3 seasons, McGrady took his talents to Orlando and became a megastar right away. During his 4 seasons in Orlando, Tracy made the All-Star team every year, earned first team All-NBA twice, and won 2 scoring titles during that time span. In 2003, McGrady averaged 32 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists in what would become his best season of his career. But in 2005, the 7-time All-Star was traded to Houston, where a litany of injuries eroded his career. Listen, McGrady's talent was never the question, but the fact that he never made it out of the first round is why, despite his talent, he's ranked at number 9. Moving on to number 8, I've got the Iceman, George Gervin. No player in the ABA or the NBA was as smooth as the Iceman. At times, he looked like he was just floating on the court. His play was dazzling and his personality was infectious. Gervin played the game of basketball to entertain his fans. And as one of the greatest San Antonio Spurs of all time, Gervin starting to turn him into the Iceman many thought was the same thing that stopped him from becoming a champion. Now, since this is an NBA ranking, we have to exclude all of his ABA stats and awards from the resume. But even when we just look at his NBA career, we find one of the best scorers that the NBA has ever seen. George Gervin was a 4-time scoring champion, most famously known for his silky smooth finger roll. Talk about a thing of beauty. He would rise above the defense, sometimes as far back as the free throw line, and roll the ball right into the basket. With his speed and agility, combined with his ability to stop on a dime, elevating into his jump shot, Ice, as he was called, was a supreme offensive weapon. Listen, Gervin had an NBA career scoring average of 26 points. He made the All-Star team 9 out of his 10 NBA seasons. Now, though he was a 5-time first-team All-NBA member who never won a title, he's earned a place amongst the top 10 best shooting guards of all time. All right, let's go ahead and skip over to number 7. Number 7 was a tough one, but I got the bearded one, James Harden. I'm sure this is the biggest shocker on the list. Some may wonder how Harden made the all-time shooting guard list over a guy like Reggie Miller. Well, consider this. Reggie Miller played 18 years and only made 5 All-Star teams, never averaged over 25 points, and never averaged over 4 assists in any season. Harden, on the other hand, has already made 7 All-Star appearances through 10 seasons, been selected to 6 All-NBA teams, and in his last 7 years in a row, he's averaged over 25 points per game, with 2 scoring titles to boot. Plus, he's just the 2nd shooting guard to ever lead the NBA in assists in 1 season. And as if that wasn't enough, Harden became just the 4th shooting guard to ever earn a regular season MVP. Oh, and don't forget he's got a 6th Man of the Year award as well. James Harden has mastered the Euro step, and he's a wizard at drawing fouls. Now, he's not the most efficient player, and he'll never be confused for a lockdown defender. But Harden has turned himself into one of the NBA's deadliest offensive weapons that the game has ever seen, as last year Harden became the first player since Jordan to average over 36. Coming in at number 6, I got Clyde, the Glide, Drexler. As an all-world athlete, Drexler was a nightmare in transition. And though he wasn't a great on-ball defender, his timing led to deflections which got his team out on the break and running. And Clyde was one of the very best the NBA had ever seen in turning defense into offense. With the career average of 2 steals per game, Clyde let his instincts springboard him into the open court for highlight dunks time after time. But Drexler was more than just a dunker. He used his athletic ability to gobble up rebounds on both ends of the court. And although he wasn't a good ball handler, he consistently made good reads with his selfless decision making. He had career averages of 6 rebounds and almost 6 assists as well. Clyde the Glide was a true all-around player, and often he was shadowed by Michael Jordan, which many were back during those times. But Drexler still became a 10-time All-Star and a 5-time All-NBA member. After carrying the Portland Trail Blazers to the NBA Finals on 2 different occasions before losing each time, Drexler finally proved in 1995 that he was the perfect fit, the perfect piece to help the Rockets defend their title, as he averaged 21.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 6.8 assists in a 4-game sweep over the Magic. Alright, now we're down to the top 5 greatest shooting guards of all time. These right here are the cream of the crop. Moving on to number 5, I got the Flash, DWade. Many people associate Wade with his time alongside LeBron James. Considering they went to 4 straight finals and won back-to-back titles, I get it. But DWade Wade was a made man even before LeBron took his talents to South Beach. In Wade's 3rd season, he carried the Miami Heat to the franchise's first NBA Finals. Yes, he had Shaq on his team, but Shaq wasn't the Orlando version of Shaq, and he definitely wasn't the Laker version of Shaq. Still a 2010 big man, it was Shaq that was the second option to DWade Wade. And after falling in that 0-2 hole to the Dallas Mavericks, DWade Wade did his best MJ impression to pull him out of it. And over the next 4 games, he led the Heat to the 4 straight victories, averaging over 39 points, over 8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.5 steals, and 1 block to close the Mavs out, earning his only Finals MVP. But Wade was just getting started. In 2009, he had his best statistical season of his entire career. He led the NBA in scoring, averaging 30 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. He also earned the first of 2 in a row All-NBA first-team selections. The next season, Wade went on to win the All-Star MVP, cementing himself as one of the best two-way guards. And all of this was before LeBron James and Chris Bosh joined Miami. DWade Wade is going to go down as one of the best shooting guards of all time. Coming in at number 4, the answer, Allen Iverson. It's hard to put into words the greatness of Allen Iverson. At 6 feet tall and 165 pounds, Iverson surpassed the expectations that anyone could have put on him coming into the NBA. Now, though he was the number 1 pick in that deep 1996 draft, not many could have predicted the impact on the game and the culture that Iverson would have had immediately. After winning the Rookie of the Year in 1997, he went on to win 4 scoring titles, led the NBA in steals on 3 straight years, and made the All-Star appearance 11 times. But that doesn't even tell the half of who Iverson was. He was a lion at heart, a fierce competitor, and despite his size, he took it to his opponents on a nightly basis. In 2011, Iverson took his game to a level that not many had ever reached before or after him. He led the NBA in scoring and in steals that season. He won the All-Star Game MVP, he made the NBA All-First Team, as well as he won the regular season MVP. He then went on to the playoffs and took the Sixers to the NBA Finals and put up 48 points in Game 1 to beat the dynastic Laker team that was undefeated in the playoffs up to that point. Iverson's heroics were amazing, and despite never winning a ring, Iverson will forever be known as one of the top 10 shooting guards that the NBA has ever seen. Moving on to the top 3 shooting guards of all time, and coming in at number 3, Mr. Clutch, Jerry West. James Harden is considered the best shooting guard in the NBA today. But before him it was Kobe Bryant, and before him it was Michael Jordan that claimed the crown as the best shooting guard in the league. Go back to the 60s and the 70s, and it was Jerry West that was universally known as the best shooting guard of all time. Jerry West was the first shooting guard to ever earn 10 or more first-team All-NBA selections, and still to this day only West, Kobe, and Jordan have accomplished that feat. Those 3 are also the only shooting guards in NBA history to ever make at least 14 All-Star appearances. Now, just until a couple of seasons ago, Jerry West was the only shooting guard in NBA history to ever lead the NBA in assists in a single season. And still to this day, Jerry West is the only player in NBA history to ever win the Finals MVP from the losing team. I mean, think about it. It's a reason that this man is still the NBA logo. His greatness is undeniable. With career averages of 27 points and 6.7 assists, you could assume that he was just an offensive force, but that assumption would be incorrect, as Jerry West was a 5-time All-Defensive selection. But you gotta remember, that award didn't begin until the 68-69 season, which was the 9th of Jerry West's career. Steals and blocks weren't officially recorded until the 73-74 season, which was the last of Jerry West's career, and in that final season, he averaged 2.6 assists and almost a block at age 35. Now, the top 2 shooting guards of all time are no mystery, there's no surprise. Kobe Bryant comes in as the number 2 shooting guard, and Michael Jeffrey Jordan is the greatest shooting guard to ever play the game. But what I think is truly interesting, what's truly impressive about these two is just how identical their games really are. And I think it's kind of a testament to their greatness, but it's also a testament to the work ethic of Kobe Bryant, who truly patterned his style after the great one. I'm sure some of you have seen this video, the video that shows the almost identical moves between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But what I find to be hilarious and yet ridiculously sad is how some people I've talked to try to discredit Kobe for copying Mike. Hello, isn't that what all great players do, which is learn from other players? If you watch basketball in the mid-80s and especially in the 90s, everyone wanted to be like Mike. We all found ourselves in the driveway, on the playground, or even in the kitchen shooting at the trash can, saying 3, 2, 1, then fade away and swoosh, just like Michael Jordan. So how can anyone criticize Kobe for doing the same exact thing? Now granted, Kobe didn't just copy Jordan's game, he copied his walk, his talk, his mannerisms, everything. But listen, if I was a 6'6" shooting guard that was as athletic as Kobe Bryant, I probably would have done the same exact thing and tried to become the next Michael Jordan. Back then, the NBA had been searching high and low trying to find that next Mike. And no one, and I mean no one, has ever reached that level, still to this day. But Kobe undoubtedly became the closest person to ever getting there. Kobe's attempt to catch Jordan in titles, it came up just a little bit short in large part due to that Achilles injury. But 5 titles and 7 finals, that's impressive. I don't care who you are and what barometer you're going by. 2 finals MVPs, 4 All-Star MVPs, 1 regular season MVP. That's just the beginning of the Black Mama's legend. Kobe holds the record for the most points ever scored in a game by a player not named Wilt Chamberlain. Kobe has 62 points in the game against the Dallas Mavericks in just 3 quarters. Regardless of position, Kobe is tied for the most first-team All-NBA selections with 11 and tied for the most first-team All-Defensive selections with 9. Add on 2 scoring titles and a slam dunk championship, 18 All-Star appearances. Kobe's the closest thing we've ever seen to anyone catching Michael Jordan. Yet, the gap between Jordan and Kobe is still so far. Jordan, in my opinion, he's the best. The GOAT, the creme de la creme. Mike, man, he was just so graceful. I mean, his moves were just so effortless. It was like he seemed to have the ability to kind of just defy gravity for a split second. I swear it was like he could just hang in the air just long enough every time it seemed to be able to get a shot off. Phil Jackson said it best. He said that Kobe was the best at hitting tough shots, but that Jordan was the best at creating open shots. He couldn't have been any righter than that. Jordan's ability to navigate his way through the tiniest holes and find just a slither room to get to the basket was uncanny. And those times when he couldn't get by you, man, he would just go over top of you. It's no question in my mind that Jordan is the greatest player and shooting guard of all time. I don't think there really was any question about who the top shooting guard or even the top 2 shooting guards were of all time. But let me know what you think about 3 through 10. Do you agree or disagree? Go down to the comment section below and let me know who you rank as the top 10 greatest shooting guards of all time. I know there's some guys that were left off that may be a big point of contention and or debate. Guys like Reggie Miller, guys like Joe Dumars. I get it. You can go down to the comment section below and you can voice your opinion as to why you think they either should be or shouldn't be on the list, and vice versa. As far as some guys that I put on the list, maybe you don't have James Harden as a top 10 guy. Maybe you have Klay Thompson as one of the top 10 shooting guards of all time. Go down to the comment section below and let me know what your thoughts are. As always, I appreciate you taking a look at this video. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. We still have another video coming up. We're going to do the all-time greatest point guards, so make sure that you check that out. And also, go back and take a look at the greatest centers, power forwards, as well as the small forwards videos that we've already done. Make sure you hit that like button on this video. Please share it if you can. And also, tap that notification bell so that way you'll stay updated with the journey of a Ballaholic.